Hello, and this will be first part of the how to play series, and today the topic will be Mesmer. So we will be doing Chrono DPS, a Mirage, and Chrono Boon. These are the Mesmer classes I know and are currently meta, so these will be the ones that I will be doing today. And also, I will probably have to wait until everyone who wanted to come watch will join, so I won't be like doing all the talking and tutorials before everyone has arrived. But I will already say that it would be nice that anyone who joins to watch, if you're guilty, I would prefer you to ask your questions on the actual Twitch, because this way everyone else will also see the question if you have some. If you say it in the guild chat, then it won't be visible the other watchers. So let's just wait a bit, like a few minutes, for everyone to arrive if they will, before we get started. I will already say that this first thing I will do is the Chrono Shatter, which might be the hardest one out of these. In my opinion, it is harder to play than Reaver. And as you can see, I have all the boons, but I have a reason for that, because I wasn't quite sure which ones I was supposed to use for the Chrono Boon, and on the Snowcross benchmark video they use all the boons. I can link that video in the Twitch if someone wants to watch it as well. And on the video, as you can see, there are all the boons. In addition, I will already claim that I don't remember this whole rotation completely. I only remember how to play it, as in I remember the best parts of it. And also, as you might see from the stream already, I reached 28.67k with it with my first try, so it will not be as high as Snowcross, plus it is not a perfect rotation. But if you play it like I do, you will still get pretty fine damage in raids and fractals. I will first try to set these sound settings, okay, because I always have some problems with the microphone loudness and other sound balance, so I will try to discuss that with my friend. From the streaming program I have, the microphone is full, but the other sound effects are quite low. So if you have some sound problems, I recommend that you just turn Twitch full sound. If you still cannot hear, you might have to turn your Chrome a bit louder, or another browser if you're not using Chrome. Well, apparently the music should be louder, so I will do that according to my friend. If someone has some complaints, please tell me and I will adjust the sound level. Okay, apparently it's better now. Let's hope so. So for this build, I use pretty much the Snowcross, but instead of having Assassin Amulet, well, the goal of this build is just to have 100% crit chance, which I don't really have because I'm missing some food or trinkets, or I don't know, infusions, something like that. But you pretty much want to have 100% crit chance. And to achieve this, you have to have some assassin pieces. On Snowcross, they recommend that you would have assassin's necklace or something, But we all know that it's kind of annoying to get those things, especially because you can apply with laurels. You have to do that with berry farm. It's a lot easier to change stats on your armor and weapons. So for that reason, I have assassin's chest piece and pants, and also assassin's weapons. And we also have this accuracy sigil to boost our crit chance a bit higher. Everything else is just berserkers, as you can see. This is berserkers. Well, this is the assassin piece. This is berserkers, assassins, berserkers. The rest is assassin all the way here. Other than that, we use scholar runes. We use sigil of force and sigil of accuracy. We don't use air because we want that crit chance. And for the traits, we use dueling, we use... Well, this whole build is pretty much based on getting a lot of damage from phantasms. I can show it from here, from the window. We can turn on the personal skills table. From here you can see some of the damage sources. And as you can see, this one is from the Phantasm Swordsman. Is the highest source of damage we have. Another high source of damage should be the Whirling Defense. Well, it's not as high, but this is pretty much the highest, which comes from Phantasm. So we want to boost our Phantasms with this build. So we take the Phantasm Fury, we take Fencer's Finesse because we will always be using Sword. And then we take the Superior, the Complex, which just says that crit hits deal more damage. That's why we want to have that 100% crit chance, because it's just flat boost for our damage then. In the illusions, we take Mind Frag, becoming ammo skill, so we can use this pretty much twice in a row. Because as you can see here, Mind Frag is pretty high on the list. Then we take Maim the Disillusion, because the other ones don't really provide that much damage to us. Like Clone when you gain stealth, we ain't getting any stealth. This one is good if you go to Fractals or if you're otherwise lacking some quickness. If you are like in Fractals or something, take this one, but if you're in a raid setting, you will already have enough quickness from your Chronos, so you can just take this for some extra damage. I'm checking if my sound is super high or something, because that sounds weird. It's not. And then we take the Phantasm Force, which is just pretty much you have Phantasms deal increased damage for extra might, and as you can see, your Phantasms deal shit ton of damage, so we want this. In the Chrono, we take Time Catches Up, which is basically the shatters deal 10% extra damage. That's also how we get so high damage from Mind Frag. Then we have Improved Alacrity, so we can just use our stuff more often, because we also get Alacrity for shattering. So we do have a bit of more Alacrity from that shattering. So, because we have Self Alacrity, we don't need that much from the Chronos, and we'll still be pretty much 100% with this. But if you're in Fractal setting, I recommend you... There's also this, which is pretty much 10% extra damage if you have always slow on the enemies, but it's very unreliable because not that many things actually apply slow. It could work if the Chronos have, like, if it's on like MO or something where Chronos have time warp and some of the other wells that slow, like I don't remember which ones, but yeah, the well of action. You might have then 100% slow on the boss, but it's a bit unreliable, which is why we go with the improved alacrity. But if you're in Fractals and you don't have the full-time alacrity, you could take this one, which just gives you extra clone if you have already 3 clones. That way you can shatter more often, which is also nice in Fractals because then you can use like diversion or distortion more often. And then we have Chrono Phantasm. So this is basically Phantasms attack twice. It like attacks, then it gets dazed, then it attacks again. It makes the timing shatters a bit harder because your Phantasms don't turn into clones right away. But again, our main source of damage is this fucking Phantasm Swordsman, so we want to take this. For the utilities, we take Signet of Ether because it's very strong. As you can see, the active is refresh all phantasm skills. So we refresh all these things that give that high damage. Then we just take Well of Calamity. You could also just take something else. This is just pretty much the best damage ability you have left after taking all the phantasms. You could also take maybe some wells if your group is lacking, or you could take feedback, things like these. But this is best for just flat damage. Then we take Disenchanter, again Phantasm steal a lot of damage, and Defender, Phantasm steals damage, so we take both of them. The Defender, it might be a bit hard to see with this on, but the Defender can do up to 500% of its damage on its explosion if we get it to block some 10 hits. So at Golem it will do less damage than in a real raid. And then we have Gravity Well, because why the hell not? None of these other things really deal damage. This is a CC, this is some quickness, you don't have boon duration, so why the hell? Massive visibility, not that good for raids, because who are you gonna hide from, Bell Guardian? So we go with the Gravity. Well, you could take just the Moe if you need some extra CC. And then for the weapons, you might have already seen, but we use Sword and Sword Focus. It's because the changes to Phantasm Warden have made its damage stronger than the other phantasms from offhand weapons. We also get some nice pull with the Temporal Curtain, which can be used on things like Sama or stuff like that. So now on the video, the Golem will overall just have Cripple and Vulnerability, because we don't really gain anything from any other traits. The Cripple is mainly for this, so 10% damage increase on shatters, and Vulnerability, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Now I'll just, if anyone has any questions, you can ask now. I will just check what Mo is spamming on the Discord. Okay, I will first show you the rotation. I'll just take a bit smaller golem, so it doesn't take forever. But I will first show it, and then I will explain you what this is doing, or what the hell is going on with it. This first part of the rotation is, it seems very hard if you look at it on Snowcross, but it's pretty intuitive when you do it, because when we start, we basically just summon all the phantasms. We summon like, I don't know, 9 or 14 phantasms in a row, and it looks pretty crazy, but that's our burst. It's also very long burst, so I can turn this on if you want to see how long the burst actually lasts. Instead of like Weaver, where it just goes super high and super low fast, this will take quite a while. And I've also turned the personal skills on, so you can see from where the damage is coming from. And maybe size this in a way that it doesn't look fucking annoying. And turn that down. It's also quite long, which is like, you will get very distracted when you're doing this part, because it's so crucial to your rotation. Other than that part, the rotation is pretty much priority based, and as you can see, the golem dies pretty fast, but maybe not the best example on the small golem, but that's pretty much what you do, and after that you just keep repeating. And I want to ask, is the sound too loud? Because to me it sounds really loud, and I should probably turn it down a bit. Let's hope that's better. I guess we should just take the actual bigger golem, because that one just died like, I don't know, died way too fast, like some white mob. So here's again the whole rotation. Hopefully this just takes 4 times as long and something, I don't know. So that's the opening burst. After that we go to a priority rotation pretty much. Now we're just basically trying to summon our phantasms of cooldown, trying to use Blood Frenzy of cooldown. And we shouldn't cancel our basic attack chain because the third hit is very strong. Now these all came off cooldown pretty much the same time, so we could use the Signet of Ether again to summon very many phantasms. Now Continuum Split is up, but we want to have all of these up at the same time. We want to use basically the one we did at the start again. So we will wait a bit for that to come up. And now it's up. We can summon these. Weapon swap, summon that. Do the opening again. Hopefully don't fail it because it's a bit tricky to do. Oh, misclick. But this is basically it. You just keep summoning these and do that hard part whenever the Continuum Split and all your phantasms are up. Now we wait again for these. This one has a bit shorter cooldown, so we can summon these. Do this trick again. And also very important is to keep shattering. I'll get to the shattering part after we get the main part of the rotation nailed. Now I got 29.1k with this, and as you can see there are these high spikes with the damage when we are doing that burst part of the rotation. And then we also have the damage source. 16% of our damage is just coming from the Phantasm Swordsman. A lot of it is coming from Blood Frenzy. Then Mind Spike, the third hit here. As you can see, it does pretty much 3000, 3k damage for the hit, so you really do not want to cancel that. It's the third best, well, fourth best on our list of damage sources. Then it's Blood Frenzy, Mind Frag, and then it's just some of the other things. Apparently music is still very quiet, but to me it sounds a good level. I could try to turn it a bit louder. And I will now try to explain what the hell is happening with this build. So I would like to divide this rotation into the priority system and the burst phase. With the burst phase, our goal is to summon all these phantasms multiple times. The goal to this whole build is, I don't know if it's a bug or exploitation, but basically if we cast Continuum Split right after we have cast Signet of Ether, we will get the effect where it refreshes our phantasm skills, but we will still get it off cooldown with the Continuum Split. It's a bit hard to time. For example, I could show you what happens if you just use this inside the Continuum Split. It doesn't work. Here, let's just summon some phantasms first. Then let's split and use this. And now they are all on cooldown again. Which is not good, because we want them off cooldown with this. That didn't really do anything good for us. So the correct way, I will have to wait for this to die. The correct way to do it is to use it, use the split right after you have cast this Signet of Ether. So the correct way of doing it is, let's just make some clones first. We're casting it, we split, we cast one, get out of the split. Now I failed because it went on cooldown. But as you can see, these are off cooldown. And that's our main goal. If you fail the split and the ether, it's very tricky to use. Then you just carry on, but you will lose like, let's say, at least 2 phantasms, which is pretty not nice, especially because you're traded for phantasms. I'm more used to doing it in the actual rotation, so let's just try again that. Make some phantasms, and we split right at the end. And now you can see it worked. Now we can summon this again. We can use the ether again, and then we can again summon everything. And that's pretty much how you can make this insane army of phantasms. It's best to try to learn that by practicing it. To me, I think you should use it right at the end of the cast. Like you see the cast here, right when it turns like brighter yellow, you should then use your split. Some people say you could use it a bit earlier. It's best to just keep trying and experiment when it works for you. It also gets a bit harder if you don't have quickness, because then you cannot rely on just like, oh, I have to wait like a few milliseconds and then use it. You have to actually pretty much look at the charge bar. Now, how it actually works, the summoning everything, is that I personally always summon this, so I get a bit extra time in the split, because these won't be turning into clones. You will have to do the split pretty much with no clone if you do not use the illusionary leap at the start. So I use it at the start. For me, I use the leap. I summon Warden, weapon swap. I summon Swordsman. I summon both utilities, and then we do the continuum split. So we use this split, summon a sword out of the split, summon sword again, summon utilities again use ether, and then summon everything again. And you will have an army of phantasms then. It's a good idea to just practice pretty much that part at the start, because that part you will have to do it really fast. And again, let's kill the thing so I can reset my cooldowns. And again, if someone has any questions about it, just feel free to ask. But I will again show how it works. So we summon one leap first, because we want to have a bit of extra time in the split, especially because you have to cast this inside the split. If you're even a bit late without the extra clone, you will fail it. So I find it a lot easier with the extra clone. Summon a clone and focus, summon sword, utilities, do the split trick, summon the sword in the split, out of the split. I failed, and then we summon these. And now you were supposed to use ether and summon all of them again. And that's pretty much the burst phase. There's also a smaller burst phase, which will come when you don't have split up, but you will have these two up and you will have your swordsman. For the smaller burst, you basically just summon all these, and then you use the ether, and then you summon this, you weapon swap, summon the warden, and then summon your utilities. That's the smaller burst you will do. Other than that, it's just pretty much a priority system. So, would someone like to see a certain part of the rotation again, or maybe the whole rotation, or maybe discuss the actual priority system after the burst phase? I guess we can look into the priority system then. Or the shorter burst. Well, again, the shorter burst is basically we do not have split up for the shorter burst, so we just do pretty much the split rotation, but without the split. So we summon the swordsman, summon 2 utilities, Signet of Ether, summon sword, swap, warden, and then you summon utilities again. The annoying part with Mesmers is that there is always those clones and you have to wait for them to get wrecked before you can summon your new golem. The priority system, it's quite intuitive. You will pretty much fall into the snow cross rotation yourself. But you can also take a look at the actual priority rotation at snow cross. Well, basically our strongest attacks will be Bird Frenzy and third of the auto chain. And of course the Phantasms. Then you can use Calamity, also pretty much of cooldown, and Gravity Well. So first do the actual rotation to have my cooldowns like they would be in an actual setting, because they just come up like they come together really nicely in a if you're training at Golem. But if you're just like at Fractals or Raids, you will just use them as a priority system. But in Fractals and Raids, it's also good to use Lord Frenzy and perhaps the Illusionary Riposte, or however you pronounce it, as a block or evade. So you might want to delay them a bit if you know you will like go through a Summerog Slam or maybe Deimos Slam, things like these. Because it's also nice to get like extra Chrome really fast, and it does nice damage as well, like almost 3k if you block it. This is also a daze as active, so if you use it and then throw it, it's a long range daze, 900 range daze, so you can also use this as CC, but you have to be careful when you use the CC. If you get blocked, you cannot use the second attack. So let's just see the actual priority rotation. I will do the first actual burst, so I will get the cooldowns as they would be. It's easier than for me to explain what comes next. So now we just do the whole summoning crazy stuff where we summon everything. I shouldn't have used that, but that's okay. We stay in the sword until Phantasm, the sword Phantasm is up. After that we swap. For sword Phantasm we prioritize that one. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much just finish your auto chain and use Bird Frenzy, use Calamity, summon your Phantasms. Maybe you can, as a filler, summon an extra clone. Now we will wait a bit for this to come up and use the, now this is the smaller burst. It's very intuitive, you just see them all off cooldown. They all come off cooldown really nicely together. So it's quite easy after the first part. Small Lich is summoning these whenever they come off cooldown, and they, again, these are pretty much like, I think this is half of that one cooldown. So they will come off like, this will come off, then we both will come off, like that. Now, as you can see, they're coming off cooldown, we have all up. So we're gonna prepare for the burst. And now we will do the burst again. I failed because it went on cooldown. And now we just keep throwing some wells until sword is up again. Use the sword, weapon swap, Bird Frenzy, keep finishing your auto, summon your things, use the well, summon more clones. Not perfect at the rotation, but I hope this will give an idea of what's happening. Again, they're coming off cooldown same time, so we are ready for the smaller burst. The golem should die soon. And yeah, the filler is pretty easy after the burst. Pretty much the only things you have to practice really are the burst and shattering, because you have to shatter very often with this. It also has now a count recharge, is a lot lower than what it was, so you can use the mind rank a lot more often than if you would or could without the trait. For the mind rack, you pretty much use it if you have 2 clones and you have 2 charges, or it's about to finish a charge, or you have 3 clones. That's always when you shatter. You should try to keep a track bit if your Phantasm is gonna come a clone soon. So if you have like 2 already, but you know you will have a clone in like half second, then you can delay it for the 3 illusion shatter. At the start, I usually shatter intercontinuum split, and then I shatter with my rotation speed, like how fast I do the rotation. I shatter when I'm starting to, I think when I'm starting to summon this one. It's better to see it. But also with the opening you can see if you shattered enough, or if you shattered fast enough, if you can shatter pretty much instantly after your first shatter. Because that way you didn't waste clones. It's very important to shatter at that burst rotation fast enough, because otherwise these phantasms will become clones and they will just die as clones. They won't be shattered, so you lose some damage. I'll try to show where's the shatter, because again it's just, you know, when you're gonna do it, more like just actually knowing when it is. So let's just go do the burst part. Now I shattered in the split. I failed this, so it's not a very good example. It's very tricky, because that's not really how you're supposed to use it, so I apologize for it. But when you try this build, you will see that it's not hard. It's not easy to do that part of the rotation. And I shattered there. Now we've succeeded. Summon everything. Now we have 2. Now we wait a bit. And now you shatter. And now you shatter again. And now you shatter 3rd time. If you got that 3rd shatter right after your sword phantasm summon, then you have succeeded shattering in time. If you didn't get that like that, then you did miss a shatter, which is not good. But that's pretty good indicator if you did manage to shatter all the times. I can try to show it again, and I can also try to show you what happens if you didn't shatter in time. But I think that's a good indicator if you succeeded with your shatters. So first we do the burst. And shatter in the split. We succeeded. We keep summoning these. We are at 2 now. Now we are 3. Shatter instantly. Shatter again. Now we wait and shatter. And that was a successful shatter. And you can reach about, as you can see, 50k with it. It also, I think you lose a lot of damage if you fail all of your shatters. Let's see if I delay my shatter a bit. I don't shatter instantly after we get them. Because as you can see, right after first shatter, it doesn't take long for the second shatter with 3 clones. So I will attempt now to fail it, so you might see how the damage differs and how you can see that you didn't succeed when you get to the last sword phantasm summon. with the burst. Hopefully succeed this split. We did. Keep summoning things. Now we wait a bit. And now we shatter a bit late. Again we have, but now, as you can see, we don't have for the third one. We have no clones. And we lost like 5k from our max DPS. So it's pretty important that you shatter that instantly. It happens really fast. You gotta be really fast with that shatter. And I could try now just do the whole rotation, try to call when I'm shattering. It might be a bit hard to see, but I'll try to explain when I'm shattering. Maybe that's a good idea. The way I practice the whole Mesmer rotation is that I first did the whole rotation without any shatters at all, and I wove in those shatters after I mastered the whole rotation without any shatters. You could, on the Snowcrows video that I linked before, you can see the personal skills table there as well. You could try to see that all the other abilities are pretty similar in your report than same as the Snowcrows report or the personal skills table, because that way you will see that you are doing the rotation like they are doing it. And if you have about the same thing, just without the mind rack, then you are already doing it correct without the shatter. And then you should move on to trying to weave in those shatters. So here let's just try the whole thing with the shatters. I'm not using food at the moment. Well, I'm using food but not utility, because this is just to show the rotation, not to boast with DPS. So here we start with the burst. Hopefully succeed this. Shatter inside. And now we get ready to shatter twice in a row. Shatter. Shatter. And shatter. Then we have these phantasms that will become clones soon. We also have that one going up like too soon. Shatter again. Weapon swap to get swordsman. We are again gonna get to the second part. Now we have two, so we just want to make one of these extra clones. Now we're doing the smaller burst. We'll have a lot of clones after this part, so shatter. It's gonna go fast, like again, instantly 3 clones. Shatter. We see that these will turn into clones soon, so we wait a bit. Maybe make an extra. Shatter. Weapon swap. Again, phantasms will become clone very soon, we know it. We can delay a bit. Or not. Yeah, shatter. Now we have everything up again for the actual burst rotation, so we will go for it. Shatter inside the split. We failed. And now shatter, we have 2. Shatter, we have 3. Make an extra. Shatter. It's very much easier if you bind your F1 to a key that's very intuitive and easy for you to use. Shatter again, we have 3. We're coming to the smaller burst again. I'm gonna make an extra. And shatter, we have 3. Now again we're at the smaller burst. Basically after this burst you will have insane amount of clones instantly. Now we wait a bit because we will get it soon. Shatter. Those should turn about the same time. Shatter. And that's pretty much how you shatter. You have to shatter quite a lot, and it might take some time for you to be able to focus on those shatters, which is why I recommend that you first practice the burst rotation with the burst time in the opening, and then you practice the whole rotation without any shatters, and after that you try to weave in those shatters. So if anyone has any questions about the actual Chrono Shatter, please ask now. If not, then we will move on to Chrono Boon because I have it on this character as well. So I don't have to go through another load screen. For range, there is actually a greatsword build, and for range we could use scepter, and we can use greatsword. I have used scepter for demons before. It was just a bit of fun build because basically, as you can see, a lot of damage comes from the swordsman, which has huge range, 1200, and also from mindwreck. Those two are your best attacks. So you could basically just take Scepter and keep making some clones and then just pretty much shatter when you have three because this is pretty much a clone machine. So with this we just pretty much auto attack it. We get these clones pretty much for free. We can summon these phantasms at range. And we just shatter whenever we have three. Every third attack with this summons a clone. So you will get clones pretty fast. So it's an okay weapon for if you have a fight like Deimos, but there are better ranged DPSs as well. If you have a fight where you are sometimes at range, sometimes at melee, and you cannot stay melee all the time, such as, for example, Mama in Fractals, then I usually take Greatsword. First off, we want to put the sword back. That one is the right sword. And we will take the Greatsword. I usually sacrifice the focus because, again, the swordsman is our best damage source. There is also a kind of seal build that you could take for greatsword, and that seal build, they replace the illusions line with domination for this trait here. You pretty much make two sword phantasms when you use, well, greatsword phantasms when you use four, and then those will turn into two, so you get four phantasms with one ability. But for fractals, if I want to go with greatsword build instead of the illusions, I replace dueling because we won't get any use from Fencer's Finesse, and well, the other ones are really nice too, but you can see that Mindwreck is very high on your damage list, so it's kinda annoying that you lose so much damage. But I haven't checked which one is better, but Mindwreck is quite high, and you also have some things here like this, so you get extra damage when you summon illusions, and shatter still more damage, things like these. Shatters recharge faster, which is nice for like fractals or something, because then you can use your diversions, distortions, things like these more often. So for that reason, I usually replace the dueling with domination if I do the replace, but usually I'm too lazy, and well, you are having sword in the other hand anyway. But for the great sword, you're basically doing the same thing. It doesn't really have a rotation because I've already used this in fractals, and in fractals you can't really do your raid rotations or anything like that. So it's basically the same thing. You do the normal rotation where you just summon one at the start, summon your phantasm, summon your phantasms, and do your swordsman, do the split. That's pretty much it. And whenever you would do the focus rotation, instead you actually just go to greatsword and use your best there. I can try to show what it would look like, but again, I haven't done this at Golem. I've only done this at Fractals, and at Fractals your rotation is a bit all over the place, so it would basically be summon an extra, summon Phantasm, get the sword Phantasm, these, and split, shattering the split, summon more, shatter, Shatter again. Change. Summon Phantasm. Summon an extra. I don't know if these deal more damage, I never checked, but I think that deals damage. And again, you just keep summoning these things as you go. Summon the sword, weapon swap, get some more clones, maybe use that one. It's nice for boon removal. Now we can see that we are about to have our smaller burst. So let's go ahead and have it. But yeah, it is a lot lower damage, but you can still do quite a bit even with range. And for like Mama, sometimes there's the red goop you cannot attack. In that case, you pretty much just keep summoning everything you have. Maybe use the Wall of Calamity far away. Keep shattering whenever you have clones to shatter. And that's pretty much it. Is there anything else before we move on to the Boon Chrono? I guess not. I will then change my gear to the Boon Chrono. The Boon Chrono doesn't really have rotation except for the opening, the split. Other than that, it's again pretty much priority system and you use them as you can. Then we have to go through all these shining blades to find the actual ones that I wanna use. I've actually ditched my focus on my Chrono most of the time because the new Chrono Boon just has so much it has so much more boons if you keep shattering. And I think the whole new Chrono Boon is about shattering because you get boons and shatters. The one I usually run is Inspi and Chaos, and then of course Chronomancer. With Inspi, I usually take the Restorative Mantras because I use the mantra build. I have a reason for it. The reason is because I'm using the old Mighty Teapot Chrono Boon build, where I have this Rune of Herald, where I get protection on my allies when I use a heal skill. So whenever I use this, I protect. And the mantra heal is nice because you can kind of spam it and you can heal others around you with it. If you don't use mantras, you can take the Medic's Feedback, where you revive your allies faster, and you also get the Reflection Bubble. But if you're in a fight like Cairn where you do not want to reflect, then you can take this one, because that one is just useless for you. Maybe that one has more use. Then we take Restorative Illusions, because I'm not using Focus. If you are using Focus, you can take this one. But I'm just taking that one extra heal for me. And also with the Healing Prism, you're also healing your allies when you heal yourself, which is why this is nice. You're gonna shatter a lot, you're gonna heal yourself a lot, you might as well heal your allies. And then this is again very standard. We take the Lesser Illusionary Inspiration, where we just get more inspies when we summon phantasms. In the Chaos line, I take this, and this. This one cause you take less damage when you have summoning, where you're summoning illusions. It's pretty nice on a tank. I'm also talking about the Chrono tank build because I have Minstrel, I do not have Commanders. So if you want the damage Chrono, I cannot tell you about that for now. Then we take Chaotic Transference, so can condition damage based on your toughness. Why do we take this? Only because there isn't anything else we could take. This one, when disabled, mirror the effects back to its source. This could apparently, according to some elite size like Snowcrows or Cutie. Well, the old Cutie. This can have some unwanted effects. You might be CCing something you don't want to CC, something like that. And also cooldown is 60 seconds, so and it doesn't really, I don't think it avoids you from getting CC'd, it just makes the enemy CC'd as well. And then we have Chaotic Dampening, Staff, and Trident. Gain reduced recharge. We ain't using either of those weapons, so we're going with this. Also Chaos Armor, but you don't really have Blast Finish or Lead Finisher other than this to give Chaos Armor to yourself, so no. And the main reason why I take Chaos Land is because we have this. Outgoing boon and condition duration increase for every boon on you, so you pretty much just get more boon duration. Then we take Bountiful Disillusionment, which is pretty much get 3 boons when we shatter things. We also get stability when we shatter things, which is nice. And you will have to shatter with this new Chrono because they have moved a lot of our stuff into shatters. I will explain that with the last line. So we take Wells Heal Allies when they end, because what the hell else we are gonna take? Interrupting foe slows. You're not really gonna interrupt things in raids, and activating Shatter makes them faster. Shatters deal more damage. Well, you're not dealing much damage anyway, so you might as well take some healing wells. If you're minstrel, you're healing much anyway. Gain Electricity for Shatter. And then we have gain quickness for Shatter, which is why the new Chrono, in my opinion, is Chrono Shatter Boon or Chrono Shatter Tank. It's still Chrono Shatter. And then we have improved Alacrity, so just get more stronger Alacrity on yourself. You don't have to really be worried that you wouldn't have enough Alacrity, because with the inspiration you get pretty much kind of double of the Alacrity you give to others. And that's pretty much what I take. So Illusion 222, Chaos 223, and Chrono 332. And if you change between these builds, be always sure you take this one as the boon and not that one, because if you take that one, then your split is gonna be just horror. You won't get to your split fast. Now it doesn't really matter what kind of golem or whatever I do, because this is just to show how to do it. I won't be dealing damage. For utilities, we take Inspi. It's your bread and butter. Then we take Well of Action, Well of Recall, not Portal. And for this, it's optional. It depends on the boss. If it needs some less CC, you might as well take the Gravity Well. If it needs more CC, you want the MOA. It's the strongest CC in game. Let's turn this off for now. Or if you don't need any CC, you might as well take Time Warp. For bosses like MO or what else? Demons. But if you're tanking, you don't really need CC, so you might as well take the Time Warp. When you have Time Warp, what you wanna do is use it only in the Continuum Split, because as you can see, this cooldown is like, I don't know, it's double of the Continuum Split. So if you only use it in Continuum Split, you can use it every 90 seconds, but if you use it outside of Continuum Split, you can only use it like a lot less. Not nice. So save it for only Continuum Split. I will probably do it with this, because it's the only one that you would pretty much use in the split, or maybe with the Gravity Well. So how the new Chrono Shatter, according to me, works is that at the start you wanna pretty much summon 3 clowns, so you can do your split stuff a bit safer. More clowns you have, the longer you be in the split. And before the Chrono worked that you got quickness with this, you had to always open with this, because you want quickness for casting your wells. But now you cannot get quickness with this, you get your quickness from a shatter. So it's just the same thing as before, it's just the quickness is coming from a different source. So basically we get some clones. You want at least 2. I usually use the illusionary riposte to get third one. Now I'm just gonna use this one to get third one. Then we weapon swap, we split. We use pretty much everything we have on this fucking skill bar. Maybe summon an extra clone. Now we use this again. Weapon swap, summon a clone, summon one more. Shatter, then use this again. You wanna shatter so you get those sweet boons. Then we just keep summoning some stuff of cooldown, maybe dodging things with the Blood Frenzy, waiting a bit, using this off cooldown. Always weapon swap before using inspi, so now we just gonna wait a bit. We have again 3 clones. We wanna use the Cry Frustration mostly because it gives vigor. You can also use this for Fury, this for Might, this is for your Panic. So now we weapon swap, Shatter, cast all these things, and try to summon your clones back. You want to have those 3 clones ready so you can do your inspi. Now again, we just pretty much wait until we have 3 and have things off cooldown. When they're off cooldown, we swap, cast this again. If this is off cooldown, you kind of want to wait for this. If this is also off cooldown, because this one has a long cooldown, but these ones have a lot shorter one. Again, just summon some clones. It's not very complex, the whole Chrono business, so there's not much to show. We wanna swap weapon because we wanna go to the shield when we do our split. So now split is ready, everything is ready. Swap. Do the same thing you did at the start, pretty much. Out of the split, use this. Summon some clones. Weapon swap, summon a clone again. Shatter, use everything on your skill bar. And after that, it's just again some combo system where you pretty much just wait until you have some clones. Shatter something, use inspi, use wells, and that's pretty much it. It's not very complex, which is why this part of the video will be kinda short. And that's pretty much it. Not much to it. Yeah. So, is there any questions about Chrono Boon? I hope not, because it's pretty simple and there isn't much to show about it. It just gets a bit more harder when you're actually doing some mechanics, like you have to CC things for sure, or you have to tank. Then it will already get a lot harder. Some boss tips would be that we want to save our Blood Frenzy and our Echo of Memory for blocking attacks. We also want to fish attacks with these because you get to use Echo of Memory twice if you block an attack with it. So you pretty much want to go face tank the boss, get some attack with it. Same with the riposte. You want those extra clones. So you pretty much just go take it. Take those hits. And this one is just like 2-second evade. You can just be like evade whatever you want with it. It's a good idea to save that for like if you know the boss is gonna hit you hard or there is a slam. Something like that. It's more like you don't really want to spam anything. You want to save your blocks and evades for countering the boss attacks. The distortion, I rarely use it. I only use it as a panic button. For example, if I'm out of dodges or I don't have any of these things up. So then I might distort. I also use distort as a panic if I need to revive someone in a very hostile situation. For example, if someone is down on a, I don't know, on a cairn agony field or something like that. You might want to just distort with 3 clones and revive that person while you're in the distort, because then it doesn't hurt you that much. But main goal is don't really spam. It's more about using the combos, and the biggest combos are just have 3 clones, shatter, then use your inspi, use this of cooldown. If this is if this is on cooldown, use only like this maybe. And if this is off cooldown or coming off cooldown, try to time that you get this and this at the same time, because this one is a long cooldown. But that's pretty much it. Anything else before we move on to Mirage? I guess not, so we can just move on to the Mirage then. Mirage incoming, don't worry. But I know everyone is excited about the Mirage rotation, but I think it's gonna be even more disappointing than the Chrono Boon rotation, because the Mirage rotation is spam everything you have. That's it. It's there isn't really a rotation or anything. It's more like just remembering to spam your stuff. I have very long load screens. I hope you guys will bear with me. And seems like we're already going to aerodrome. I should really get an SSD for faster load screens. This is also why it always takes so long to load into any place. Okay, we are in aerodrome. One more loading screen and then we can get to the action. Let's do something to get there a bit faster. Maybe use blink.
A deadly raid squad is a happy raid squad. Practice your skills using our state-of-the-art golem.
So, for the Mirage DPS test, you want to take Might, Fury. It's the usual 6, so Might, Fury, Vitality, Alacrity, Quickness, Regen, Swiftness, that's the usual 6. But you also want to take Vigor, because we have a trait which gives us stuff for Vigor. Then for the profession specifics, we want to take again the usuals, but usual for Condi, so we take Pinpoint. Then we take the ones from the Ranger, so Spotters and Frost. And from Warrior we take Strength, Discipline and Empower Allies. For the Golem, I don't quite remember what, but I think we didn't have any trait that gives us extra damage for some stuff, so we might as well go with everything. Then let's just make average size. The build is full Viper with Renegade runes, so here we have full Viper gear with Sigil of Energy and Sigil of Malice. We're using Axe, Torch and Pistol. And again, just go with the full Viper. For traits, we are going Tooling. We take the Duelist Discipline. For bleeding, our illusions will bleed. And We are Condi, we want more of that bleeds. The illusions pretty much use your base. No, I don't. Yeah, I think they use your base stats. The phantasms at least. Then we have illusions to. Well, with this line, there is nothing we want to take, so we just take that one. Like, reflect projectiles after successful evasion. Sounds nice, but then again, you think like, oh, I'm gonna reflect things on Cairn. Maybe not that nice, so we just take that one. We don't have a sword, so we don't want that one. Then this is pretty much just nice extra damage, which is why we take Superiority Complex. The other ones aren't that great again. Then we take Chaos. We take this one where we do a Chaos Storm with our Heal skill. The other ones again don't really do damage. We could take this one if you have survivability difficulties. Otherwise just go with the Descent into Madness. Then we take this one like on the Chrono, condition damage and toughness. So pretty much just free condition damage. Then we take, again, none of this is nice, so we just take that one. So we get some random boon in stealth. The other ones are when you interrupt foe, you do some condies, but you're not really interrupting anything in raids, are you? And Shatter gives you some extra bone, but you're not a bone bot, and you're not also supposed to shatter anything, so we don't want to take that one. For the Mirage, we take Self-Deception, so we can keep all 3 clones up all the time. It also helps you to summon multiple clones in a fast succession. If you feel like that your clones aren't getting killed and you need some more survivability, you could take this one. It just pretty much makes conditions less on you. Then we take this mirrored axes thing, which just makes your axe skill stronger, and you just make this extra floating axe when you use your skills. And then we take Infinite Horizon, where your illusions will use your ambush skills. The build is pretty much we make 3 clones and we wanna abuse this imaginary axis attack. I will first show the rotation and then we can discuss what's up with it, but it's priority based, so there isn't too much to say about it. We open with creating some illusions, and after that it's just priority based, so here we go. The main goal of the whole build is to keep dodging whenever you have enough energy. You will have a lot of energy because you're using energy food. And you also get energy on your weapon swap, which is also why you need to weapon swap pretty much off cooldown. I'm delaying because I want to use these again. The illusions are again nice damage source, which is why we want to use them if they are coming up. And try to walk into your Mirage for that extra ambush. Wait a bit to get these up, then swap. Summon your illusion, keep dodging. Keep using your utilities of cooldown, but this is pretty much it. There isn't much to it. All you have to do is remember to dodge and remember to use all your attacks. You wanna go to the mirror. You can also pretty much use Jaunt of cooldown for the golem test. In a real fight, you wanna pretty much delay your jaunt for if you need mobility, because the Mirage dodge, where it doesn't move you, is pretty crap if you try to dodge sideways or backwards, because it's still a super speed, it's not a dodge. And that's it, we get 32.0k damage. But That's pretty much it. There isn't much to it. Why you wanna usually have jaunt is because this is how you dodge forward. It's pretty nice, but how you dodge backwards is this. You're not really dodging. It's not going fast or anything, so it kind of sucks. You're kind of not as mobile as people with dodge. That's why I usually go with the jaunt, so I can just keep avoiding some mechanics with it on Matthias, get to the fountains faster. And yeah, Futi, I have my new benchmark for you. I can take screenshot out of that for you. So that's your new goal, I guess. Is there any questions about the Mirage? Because that's pretty much it. There isn't much to it. The only thing you have to remember is keep dodging and mainly dodge during your cast. So dodge during when you're casting your illusions, dodge when you're casting these attacks, and you can also dodge during this. Just always dodge when you have energy for it, and preferably when you're casting something so you don't interrupt your auto chain. The priority is just pretty much spam everything you have of gold, but try to prioritize that you will finish your auto chain, and other than that, try to dodge while you're casting. For example, this has uh, almost a second cast time, so you're casting it and you dodge while it, or you're casting this and you dodge while you're casting it. You will get like one less imaginary axe, one less of those axes that float, but all of your illusions will perform the attack, so you still get like 3 of those attacks, you just miss 1 out of 4. And that way you don't interrupt your auto chain. Yeah, I think Mirage is strong if you play it on certain bosses because it has so much torment. I can again open that damage source window to show you where it's coming from. As you can see, 49% of the damage is torment and then 25 is bleeding. Because you have so much torment, it means that you do a lot better on targets that move or targets that are just like rooted, such as Karen, because those bosses will count as moving always. That's why it's so good on bosses like Karen, I think Salva, and then Matthias, because Matthias moves a lot. But that's pretty much it, I guess. I can show it again if you want, but there is not really much to it. Or maybe I'm bad at explaining it, but it's kinda simple thing. Which is also why it's quite fun to play, because you don't really have to worry about your rotation or anything, you just spam your shit. So now I'm trying to dodge every time I go into one of my cast animations. And before you weapon swap, you wanna dodge, because that weapon swap gives you so much energy. You might not be able to consume it, or you might like hit the cap if you don't dodge before you swap. And we don't want to hit that cap, do we? We don't want to lose any of that energy. We don't use it all. The sweet energy, that sweet ambush damage. The Mirage mirror. Dodge that. Get to the other mirror. Dodge again. Use your stuff. This time my damage isn't quite as high. I probably just had that one perfect try last try, so don't worry, Hootie, I won't always get that good damage. And also to play this class properly, you need a legendary axe because it looks pretty damn good. And yeah, it's very easy rotation. That's pretty much it. Another thing you can do is if you know that the boss will do some nasty attacks, you could use these Mirage mirrors here for an extra dodge. You can try to time it, as in if you know that, for example, who would I use an example? If you have to go to a green on Cairn with someone with agony, you could send this on the green while you're running there, and then when you get to green with someone with agony, the greens, all the red circle shit, you could use it to get a little evasion. You could also use this, except this takes a bit of time to get again some evasion. Or if you're at boss, you have the mirror somewhere, you know the boss will do, I don't know, some kind of attack that you know you will dodge or have to dodge, you can just run to your mirror to get that extra dodge. This is also a dodge, so you can also use the axe tree for dodges. If you need to jump over something, you could also use jaunt. Like if there's a shockwave coming, you just jump over the wave or dodge over the wave. Use this as a gap closer, things like this, but generally it's a very easy class to play. So does anyone have any questions about any of the Chrono builds? If not, then I think we are done for tonight. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for joining, and if someone has some questions afterwards, you can just send whispers to me about it. What boss the Mirage is best on? I would say Cairn, absolutely Cairn. Then another good one is Matthias. Those two are the usuals. I've also noticed that it's very good on Soulless Horror because that bitch moves a lot, and you if you have some extra stuff, like you also have the distort, you could try to revive your tank in that red goop if you just have 3 crowns, shatter them, and go revive someone in the red goop. So it has some clutch plays as well. Uh, I could tell a note about the CC on Mirage. It does have quite some CC, but you have to sacrifice damage for it. CC that doesn't sacrifice damage is the magic bullet. It has a 2-second stun and daze and I guess some confusion. And then you have diversion. This will sacrifice your damage because you will have to summon your clones again, but you can summon your clones really fast. You will never use the lingering touch. You only spam 3 Phantasm Duelist 4 and 5 in Torch, and these deception skills, signets you don't touch. That's it. You basically don't touch 2 signets and magic bullet unless you're using the bullet for CC. So the CC is the bullet. Maybe have 3 clones, shatter them to create more clones. You have 2 charges of this because you're not using it. You just use it twice. Then you might use 1 jaunt. Then you again have 3 clones. Very simple, very fast. And you won't lose that much damage when you do that. If you really need emergency CC, you can use your Signet of Domination, which is a 3-second stun, but you lose condition damage if you use this. So it's only for panic situations. And also, of course, you will have Moa, but if you give up Jaunt, you lose a lot of mobility because again, you cannot dodge backwards. You just cannot dodge backwards, so you have to be fast with your fingers if you want to move really to all directions or just really get used to it. And I think Mirage damage is also very good because you have all these dodges and mobility with Jaunt. Also, you can give up some of these utilities for some actual utilities. So you can take feedback, you can be main feedback on Karen. Not Karen, Matthias. Oh, Matthias, Karen doesn't use feedbacks or reflections. Or maybe if you're trying to do heart, the crystalline heart at Karen, you could take the blink, because that way you can get the greens easier and more safe. Or maybe you need some stability for your group, you could take some stability. There are many things you can take over these, because they aren't really that huge DPS increase. Other than that, that's pretty much it, and thanks everyone for joining this How to Play Mesmer stream.